everyone, it's Lisa from Epic Yarn Gems. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the Larksfoot stitch. This stitch can be used in a variety of projects, so how we're going to start is we're going to start with a slip knot, and then what we're going to do is we are going to build in multiples of 4 and then plus 1. So for this little sample I did a chain of 21, which would be 5 sets of 4 and then plus that 1 extra. So I am just going to do this chain and then I will meet you at the end to show you how to start doing the Larksfoot stitch. Just so you know, this stitch can be used for many different things. You can make blankets and scarves and all kinds of stuff, so it is a pretty versatile stitch. Once we get to the end, we are going to go back 4 stitches and we're going to go into that 4th chain from the hook and we're going to do a double crochet. Those 3 chains that we skipped are actually going to count as a double crochet, so right now you would have 2 double crochets, and then we're going to do 1 more double crochet in the next chain, and then we will do a chain 1, and from that chain 1 we are going to skip over the next stitch and go into the next stitch, and we're going to do 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. And that is really going to be the pattern for this lark stitch. So you're just going to want to remember that you are going to work in multiples of 3 as you're going back. So here we are finishing up our last double crochet, and then we are going to chain 1, skip that stitch, the next one, and we are going to go into the next stitch after that and do a double crochet, and then you will do 2 more double crochets building on those little sections of 3, and I will meet you at the end of this row to show you what we do next. And we just finished up our last chain 1 skip stitch, and we're going into the very last chain at the end of this row, and we are putting a double crochet into there. And what you're going to see here now is that we have done these little sets of 3 and created openings next to each of them. So we are going to do a chain 3. Remember, this chain 3 does count as a double crochet, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 more chain because we are having that open space, and that's our chain 1 and skip stitch. Then we're going to go into the top of that first double crochet in that grouping of 3, and we are going to do 3 double crochets across the top, and those are the tops of the 3 double crochets from the previous row. So you've created that little cluster of 3 double crochets, and what you're going to do next is the chain 1. You're going to skip a stitch, which is the chain from the previous row, and you're going to do 3 more double crochets in the next stitch. So really what you're making here is the exact same row that was the previous row. So when you look at it, you will have sets of 3 with an open space, sets of 3 with an open space. And this is going to be our foundation for the next part that we're going to do, which is actually the part that looks like the lark's foot. As we're coming to the end, remember that chain 3 counted as a stitch, so we need to go into the top of that chain and do a double crochet. This is where we're going to change our color. Do that however you do. How I do it is I stop my double crochet with 2 loops on my hook, and I incorporate the next color and tighten things up. So do that whatever works best for you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we're going to do 1 more chain because that is where we are in the pattern as we go back the row that we're going to be working on. So we're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to do a double crochet in the next. And here is what's going to create that lark's foot. So we're going to go, and you see those open spaces, we're not going to go into that top one, we're going to go all the way down to that next row below that and pull up the yarn and make an extended double crochet. You're going to want to leave your yarn a little loose so that you are able to get that length in there that makes that lark's foot. and then you're going to do a double crochet in the next one. You will do a chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and then you're going to do that extended double crochet going down not one row but 2 rows. And like I said, you're going to want to keep that loose, because if you create that really tight, what that's going to do is just squish those 2 rows together. And what you're really going for here is to have that extended double crochet look. So that is your pattern. So here we are at the end of that second lark's foot, and we are going to do a chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch, going into the stitch after that with a double crochet. There are those 2 openings, so you're going to do that extended double crochet. And like I said, keeping it loose but not too loose is the trick here. And then we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch. Then we are going to do a chain 1, skip the next stitch, and that is the pattern all the way to the end. So once we get to the end, I will meet you there. Here we are at the end. Remember that chain 3 counted as a double crochet, so we are going to go into the top of that chain and do a double crochet. Now what we're going to do, you can see our lark's feet are looking pretty good, and we are going to do a chain 3. This is counting as a double crochet. I keep saying that because typically in my projects I do not count the chains at the end as a stitch, but for this lark stitch you actually do. So we did our chain 3, and now what we're going to do is we are going to turn our work. Now we will go into the top of the very next stitch, not the one with the chain, and we'll do a double crochet. And the next stitch we will do a double crochet. And then we're going to do a chain 1 and skip a stitch. So you're probably getting the pattern here of what we're doing. We're creating that next row, and we are creating those openings that the lark's foot is going to go into when you change the color again. So again, what you're doing here is you're doing 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and 3 double crochets again until you get to the end. The big trick is just to remember where you are when you're doing these sets of 3 in chains and making the open spaces. Once you get the gist of it and you start cooking along on your rows, it really is a very, very easy stitch. And how we work our color changes here are every 2 rows. But this is your creation. If you want to change every row, please go right ahead. Whatever you do, I'm sure is going to look beautiful. So in closing, basically for the lark stitch, things to remember is you are going to build in multiples of 4 for your starting chain plus 1. Your chains of 3 will always count as a double crochet, and that what you are working in is multiples of 3 across, chain 1, skip a space, which makes that open space for your lark's foot to go into, and also keep your tension loose when you are doing the actual dip of that lark stitch. Thank you for taking the time to stop by and learn this stitch with me. And if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are a current subscriber, thank you so much for your support. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by as well. And if you'd like, please subscribe and hit that little bell for notifications so you are notified when I put out new videos. Also, just as a quick aside, I am a Christmas in July fairy, so check out my channel for that video for a chance to win and be the Epic Yarn Gems contestant for the final drawing. Again, thank you so much for stopping by. I truly appreciate it. As always, peace, love, and happiness to y'all. Take care.